Reproductive Freedom Bus Tour. That sounds so good you can put it on a t-shirt, right? Yeah. And it is always wonderful and such a pleasure to be with the terrific second gentleman, Doug Emhoff. Yep. Now, thank you to that wonderful story we just heard from Latoya Beasley, and for sharing what a powerful message that is. And you know, how lucky are we to be here with her as she delivered the message that she's going to have another child. Congratulations! Right? Yeah. And thank you. Thank you to all the brave women coming forward to tell your stories. Please know that stories that you are telling and sharing have real purpose and meaning and power. Thank you. Thank you. Those stories can turn hearts and change minds, and that's the reason why earlier this year, Tim and I decided to share our story too, after such a long time. When the Alabama Supreme Court came down with that ruling on IVF, I have to tell you, it brought us to our knees. We heard the stories of folks like Latoya and people getting sent away from health clinics and told that they had to put their dreams of having children and a family on hold indefinitely. And it just brought us right back to that moment where Tim and I were having to make some of those decisions ourselves, but they were our decisions to make at that time. It brought back a crush of emotions that we hadn't felt in many, many years. You see, our path to parenthood wasn't easy. We had struggled to have children. We knew we wanted to have a family, but we had struggled. And we were only able to start our family because we had access to fertility treatments. And even then, it was quite a long journey. We didn't share that with hardly anyone. It was personal. It was our own story. So it was almost too much to bear to even tell our friends and family, because then the disappointment felt exponential. But the one person we shared our story with was our neighbor, Mary. And we had to tell her because we needed her help. You see, the process we went through required that I get these frequent injections. Some of you who've been through this process know that injection. And it happens back behind. And so I couldn't do that myself. And now I know you all are learning how great Tim is, but let's just say it's a good thing he didn't become a nurse or a doctor, because no matter how much he tried or practiced, he couldn't quite do it. He couldn't give those shots. So our neighbor Mary, who was a nurse, said, "Let me help," when we asked her. That process lasted for us for years, month after month. We desperately wanted that phone call that said we had been successful. That phone call that would maybe change everything for us. But then the phone call would be that it hadn't quite worked this time. And that journey was hard. But we kept going, and it was worth it. Eventually we had our daughter, and it's no accident that we named her Hope. And after another 5.5 years, we had Gus. And those two kiddos are the center of our world. We cannot imagine our lives without them. And so that's how we knew in the wake of Alabama ruling that we had no choice but to speak out at that moment. We'd hardly shared the story, as I said. We'd closed that chapter of our lives. A little bit like, I don't know, after you get your driver's license, you forget about that test and all those things, right? But only so much magnified in so many ways. But after Alabama, it suddenly became very real for us in a way that it hadn't been for decades. Tim and I looked at each other and we knew we just couldn't fathom that people couldn't make their own choices about their own families, and we could not let their hope be stolen. Everyone, every single person should have the freedom to build their own family, your own family, as you dream and as you choose. And this is just as important. You should also have the freedom to decide not to have children at all. Because here's the point. It should be your choice. Your choice. Your choice, and not J.D. Vance's and Donald Trump's. So let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. Trump's the reason we're in this mess to begin with. Yes? He is the one who took down Roe and unleashed all of this chaos and all of this cruelty. And J.D. Vance, well, who asked him to tell us how to build our families? Nobody asked him. Nobody's asking him, and nobody's gonna ask him. JD, we're not asking you. Now they want to stick their noses further into our bedrooms and our doctor's offices with their Project 2025 agenda. And somehow they thought we wouldn't read that, but we did. And that is criminalizing women's reproductive health care. That is denying women emergency care until they are moments away from death. That is making it harder to get birth control than to buy a gun. And this one, as you already know, is particularly personal for me. They're putting our fertility treatments at risk. Well, we don't take kindly to bullies like Trump and Vance telling us where or if or how to start our families. So in this election, we are going to send them a message that is loud and clear. Are you ready? Now, some of you might not be teachers, but just listen to my teacher voice, and then we're going to practice it, because I'm going to use it here. School has started. Mr. Trump and Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Try it with me now. Ready? Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Yes. You are good. You are good. This election fundamentally is a fight for our freedoms. And this fall, we get to choose two people who are champions to fight alongside us. Kamala Harris has long been leading this charge, and I mean long been leading this charge. From working to keep reproductive health providers safe as California's Attorney General, to working to protect abortion medication and emergency and care after Roe fell. Her record is long and impeccable. And when she became the first vice president in history to visit a reproductive health care clinic, guess who was standing by her side? My husband, Governor Walz. And that clinic was in Minnesota. Yes. Oh, come on. That clinic was in Minnesota. Thank you. Now, my husband, Governor Walz, I'm really proud of his leadership on reproductive rights, too. The day after Roe was struck down, he signed an executive order protecting patients and providers. And we were the first state to pass legislation protecting reproductive freedom. That's what you can do when you have a House and a Senate. Yeah, right? So here's what a Harris-Walz White House will mean for reproductive freedom. They will use their power to protect women, not punish them. They will write the laws to defend reproductive freedom, not destroy it. They will make sure that people, not politicians, control their own lives and their own bodies. That is the future that Kamala and Tim are fighting for, and it is the future that we have the power to choose this November. So I'm going to close with this. You don't know my mom, but you know my mom. My mom's a retired teacher. Yep. A PE teacher. She's 86 and still substitutes on occasion. And she's a church organist and a piano teacher, and she raised my three sisters and I, along with my dad, who's a teacher. But here's what she would always say to me. Yeah, she raised my dad. That's good. Get that on camera. No, my mom would always say to me, Gwen, do the work that is in front of you. It's advice that's both thoughtful and actionable. When I was growing up, I thought doing the work in front of me meant the dishes or maybe my homework. But I have come to realize through my mom's example and so many other powerful examples what it really meant. It meant taking a good look at the world in front of me and the people around me and even the people closest to me, and to see where I might use my own voice, my own passion, my own talents, my own hard work, my way of seeing, to be of service. Well, Raleigh, there are only 57 days left until the election day. And there is a lot of work in front of us. So I am asking you to listen to my mom, too, to do the work that is in front of us. I'm asking you to volunteer. I'm asking you to bring friends to volunteer. I'm asking you to have hard conversations with your neighbors and your friends and maybe people who aren't even your neighbors or friends at this moment. I'm asking you to bake cookies one night for the people who are making phone calls. We need treats at those places. Right? Yeah. Nothing wrong with treats. Yep. And the next night, go in and make the calls yourself. I'm asking you to make cookies for the door knocks or bars for the door knocks, and then the next night go in and do the door knocks. I'm asking you to dig deep, to find something within yourself, to make the choice so that we all have a choice. But most importantly, I'm asking you to keep sharing your stories. Let people know that this is personal. Let people know exactly what is at stake in this election. That's why we're doing this bus tour. That's why you're all here today. That's why I'm here today. It's not always easy to share our stories. And introverts like me, who are used to reading more books than talking to large crowds, we have to dig deep sometimes. But you're all so nice. You made it really easy for me. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So get out the word that reproductive freedom is on the ballot. And it's up to us to fight for it and fight for it in ways we never have before. So now we are lucky to have with us today a leader who has not been shy about using his voice to advocate on these issues, because he knows that the assault on reproductive rights impacts all of us. He is a fighter like we have not seen before. He is the amazing future First Gentleman of the United States, the incomparable Doug Emhoff.